Hi guys!
Welcome back to the IB Inside Out.
Today we invited some of our friends to talk to you about all the different IB subjects that our school offers you, so you can have an idea of what you're going to learn in each subject, how it's created, and what's different in IGCSE and in IB in those subjects. So maybe we can help you when choosing your subjects.
Eu sou a Débora e eu tô fazendo português A, HL. Eu acho que a coisa que é mais diferente dos IGCSEs é porque aqui nós somos avaliados em literatura mesmo, enquanto nos IGCSEs era mais sobre a língua e escrita de textos descritivos e essas coisas. Aqui a gente tem 7 textos para ler e é um pouco desafiante, porque são muitos textos, mas se você gosta de ler e de escrever, é um curso super interessante. Nós somos avaliados exatamente igual ao inglês, o Paper 1, que é um unseen, então nós temos um texto que a gente nunca viu e a gente tem que analisar. Depois tem o Paper 2, comparando 2 textos, e o HL também tem um HL Essay, que é o ensaio. Nós escolhemos uma das obras, detalhe que as obras não podem ser repetidas, então se você escolher para o IO, não pode escolher para o ensaio e assim vai. E você escolhe a sua pergunta, é quase como se fosse um analytical paragraph, e você tem que desenvolver essa pergunta sozinho, e são 1.600 palavras mais ou menos para escrever. E o IO, que é igualzinho mesmo em inglês. Então, se você quer ir para português HL ou só português A, o que eu gostaria de ter feito é, durante as férias, ver os textos que vocês vão estar estudando e ler já antes, para você já estar adiantado e já saber mais ou menos o que fazer. Se você não tiver essa oportunidade, lê assim que você puder e assim que você souber, assim você já tem mais repertório para falar durante as aulas.
Hello, I'm Pedro. I'm taking English Language Lit Standard Level, and we're reading 4 books: Metamorphoses, Giovanni's Room, The Road to Life, Persepolis. Each one of these talk about like different themes, having 3 assessments. One of them is paper 1, which is analyzing a source that we never saw. Normally it's like a website or an article or something like that, but we also have paper 2, which is comparing 2 of the texts that we read with a question that we'll be giving at the time. And then finally we have the IO, which is comparing one of the texts that we read and a source, a non-literary text that we choose. And that is really interesting because you can incorporate what you like and you choose your own question, so you have a lot of preparation for that. But for paper 1 and paper 2, there's a lot that you have to do on the time. And I think that's the hardest part, analyzing, because from ITSC to IB, there's a lot of differences because ITSC is more structured and you don't need that much analysis and further interpretations. And in IB, you need to analyze the connotations or create like personal allusions to certain images. And I think that's the hardest part. But with enough preparation, it's possible, and because you can choose what literary pieces you're going to talk about on paper 2 and the IO, it's easier to manage it.
Hello everyone, I'm Mila and I'm a Portuguese B SL student. Portuguese B is good because it'll help you have a base understanding of like all languages, as it is a Latin language. Portuguese consists of mainly a lot of group work, so if you like working in groups, that would be a really good option for you. We have 4 methods of evaluation, 4 tests in Portuguese. We have reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And for me personally, I think that listening is the hardest because sometimes they speak in Brazilian Portuguese, sometimes they speak fast, but it is a really good subject and it's really similar to IGCSE. So for me, there was not a big change or difference. But one different thing to IGCSE and IB is the internal assessment, where for the internal assessment, you'll be assessed on your speaking, and that will consist 25% of your IB grade. Bye guys! To the next person.
Hi, I'm Leonor and I take Spanish ab inicio. I'm here to talk to you about the subject. So basically in Spanish ab inicio you just learn more about the basics and how to structure text and phrases. Like we learn about foods, a lot of verbs, how to conjugate and put them into phrases. Although it may seem really easy, but it focuses a lot on writing instead of speaking. We are assessed with orals, like we have to describe images and to focus a lot on culture. Most challenging is probably the writing because, especially because I'm Portuguese. Don't think that because you're Portuguese, you're going to be able to get easy marks on Spanish ab inicio, because I tend to incorporate a lot of Portuguese words and get a lot of things wrong.
Hi, I'm Carmo. I'm a Spanish BHL student and to read 2 books in Spanish HL. We already did 1 book on the first term and we're going to do the next book on the next year. During classes, we also review some other themes for the oral, which include identity, traveling, and some others. But for example, it's not just my identity is this. We have to go a little bit deeper. We have to say I feel this way because of some past experiences I had, because of my country, my culture, my religion. We have to connect it to our real life examples and not just be superficial. For the oral, we have to include the book, and then the teacher asks us some other questions, some follow-up questions, to go a little bit deeper in the interpretation of the book, because we can't be superficial. The structure of our exams, we have 4, which are speaking, reading, writing, and listening. For me, what has been most challenging is, since I have not done the IGCSE Spanish, it has been a little bit difficult for me to get the verbs and to get all the grammar correct. But however, since I'm a Portuguese native speaker, I think it's much easier to get, because it's a little bit intuitive what the answer is going to be, and it's much less challenging to, it's not that like you're starting from zero. You already know most things, but you just need to get that step to change between languages, because the languages are really similar, and I think that's...
So I'm here to talk to you about business management in IB. So if you did business in IGCSE, I think the content is pretty much the same. You just go a little bit more in depth in each topic, and I think what differs the most is you learn analytical tools. For example, you learn like how to analyze marketing or how to analyze finance and etc. Yeah, if you choose, I think business is a little bit more easier than economics, just because it's more common sense and common knowledge. So in business we have 3 papers if you do HL, 2 if you do SL. I'm not sure what differs between paper 1 and paper 2, but I think it's just long answer and short answer questions. And in paper 3 you have a 17-mark question, which is pretty hard. It's just like an essay, like a full essay. And then you have an IA, which you choose a business and you have 4 concepts to choose from, which is change, creativity, ethics, and sustainability. And then you pick one of these concepts and you analyze it on a past business problem. I recommend choosing business. It's not very hard, and yeah.
Hello, my name is Elise, and I'm going to talk about psychology. I take psychology HL, and in psychology we talk a lot about case studies that were conducted, and we talk about how like that relates to certain topics that we are giving. In our course we're doing biological approach, cognitive approach, social culture approach, and then abnormal psychology. We're assessed on 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2, and then our IA. The IA component is basically reenaction of previous case studies that we do in groups. Paper 1 and paper 2, the only difference between SL and HL is that HL people have more questions. When studying for psychology papers, it requires a lot of memorizing, because we're basically just memorizing case studies and throwing them onto our exam. Understanding the content is not as bad. The worst part is actually memorizing it.
Hello, my name is Lorenz Wang, and today I'm here to talk about the subject of economics. It is not offered in IGCSE, but in the IB it has some similarities with business, although it is more related to the economy as a whole instead of being business specific. The subject has three main components, which are micro, macro, and global economics. In terms of tests, it has 2 for SL and 3 for HL. The one for HL requires more calculations, and the ones for SL is more essay-based. In my opinion, the hardest part about the subject are the 10 and 50 markers in the tests, which they are quite long, and they require you to know the marking requirements in specific, as it's hard to get the maximum marks. In terms of AI, there are 3 essays, one for each topic, macro, micro, and global. And essentially they are just article analysis where we try to analyze the economics components of the article and the calculations.
Vamos por isso.
Hello, my name is Loren.
Hi, my name is Lada, and I'm here to talk to you about geography. I take it as one of my HL subjects and took it last year for IGCSEs. For me, it was honestly a very smooth transition from GCSE to HL because the content is very similar. However, in IGCSE, there's a lot of physical geography, whereas in IB geography, we talk a lot more about human geography, the economic side, like focusing on different aspects, and there's only a bit of geography. Another thing is at the end of geography this year, your first year of taking it, you go on a geography trip, like measure the wave, something to do with coasts. And in geography we have an IA to do, which is very similar to the geography coursework we did in GCSE, but we have to come up with our own questions, our own methodology, our own research techniques, and it's like very autonomous, so you kind of just do it yourself, and your teacher looks at it I think only once to tell you the advice and what you can do better.
Hello, my name is Lorenz, and I'm here to talk about the IB subject of history. If you did IGCSE, history is pretty much the same. Both paper 1 and paper 2 are really similar in criteria for some of the questions are a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same. In terms of content, it focuses a lot on Europe conflicts, and I think it's a really good subject if you're interested in in themes like politics or global issues. And yes, it's pretty much the same of IGCSE. What I find most challenging for me, it's managing my time during the exams, because it's like a really dense paper, especially paper 3. You are assessed in 3 main components, which are the paper 1 and paper 3 exams, and in the IA, which counts for your grade. Yes, that's it.
Okay. Pronto. So I'm here to talk to you about the 3 sciences: biology, physics, and chemistry. There is more content, like a lot of content. You'll see a lot of the same things in the IB as you did in IGCSE, but there will be a lot more content added onto those things. On all of the sciences, we are assessed with 2 papers, so paper 1 and paper 2, where paper 1 is a multiple choice paper, and paper 2 is a written answer paper. And it's the same for SL and HL, just the HL paper has more content. But there's not like an extra paper or anything, it's the same papers but more content. Then we also have to do an II for each subject, where we choose like a practical that is related to the syllabus, and we have to do a lot of like methods, background information, and analysis and all of that for the practical. We have to do. I think the most challenging in this subject, I would say for biology, is to memorize all of the keywords and all of the things, because there's a lot of content. In chemistry, I would say like sometimes understanding like the concepts and knowing how to apply them, and same in physics. But for all 3 sciences, the difficult part is how specific the mark schemes are with the keywords and stuff like that. Physics, I think the exams are especially hard because you usually have 1 minute per mark,
And in the multiple choice, like you have 1 minute, because each multiple choice question is 1 mark, but then you have to still do the working out, so you really have to learn how to be quick to apply your knowledge. And that's it.
Hi, I'm Katerina, and for science I chose ESS of science. I chose ESS because I don't want to do anything with science in the future, and ESS is a more lighter option of science. Out of the 3 science, biology, chemistry and physics, ESS relates more with biology, and it talks about sustainability, ecosystems, and I would say it's a bit common sense. Will be assessed on 2 papers and the IA. Paper 1 is about the case study, and paper 2 is about the short answers and the extended responses.
Hi, I'm a DT high-level student, and I personally really like DT because I'm naturally a creative person, and there's a lot of designing and creating, and if any of these you think fit with you, then definitely consider picking DT as one of your IB subjects. You have an internal assessment, which is a research and design project. Basically, you pick a product on the already existing market that you think needs improvement or you think can be better, and then you actually go through all the processes of what would happen when creating a product. So it's really interesting. You get to learn a bunch of skills. And then the written exam part, for high level you have 3 papers, and standard level you have 2, and they're basically theory papers. So it could ask you, in this situation, what material would you use? It could give you a case study, and it would ask you a list of questions. And the difference between IB and IGCSE would probably be there's a lot more work to do, you have more deadlines, and it's just in general a larger scale of work. What's most challenging would probably be that you do have deadlines almost every week. They're not always hard, but you do need to stay on top of everything and finish your work in time.
Alice, being a granny.
Let's maybe go over that. Yeah.
I believe as a programming language. For this year, there's only pseudocode, yet we are also learning Python. For computer science, in general, I would recommend you focus really hard on the mathematical algorithms, the recursive algorithms. Some people in the beginning of the year chose computer science because they thought that it was easy, but they were very wrong. But computer science is genuinely fun, in my opinion. I love coding. We are assessed with a case study. We will have to write out pseudocode for different problems, and also we will also have to solve a problem for a client in our IA.
Hi, I'm Pedro, and I'm here to talk about Maths AA Standard Level. I chose it because I prefer pure, raw and more theoretical mathematics rather than dependent-based mathematics like in Maths AI. So Maths AA is better if you're planning on doing engineering, natural or computer sciences. Content-wise, the syllabus has 5 topics: numbers and algebra, functions, geometry and trigonometry, statistics and probability, and calculus. Plus, there's going to be time in the lessons allocated for IA practice and IA exploration. In terms of assessments, you have 2 papers. Paper 1, which is worth 40%, no calculator, and is out of 80 marks. Paper 2, also 40%, calculator is allowed, and also 80 marks. Both these papers are of 1 hour and a half, so 90 minutes. You have your ongoing IA work, and the subsequent exploration, which is worth 20% of your grade. In terms of advice, I would say that this course is very similar to IGCSE Maths, and that a lot of prior knowledge you've obtained from there is going to be very useful on building new concepts. But it's kind of different because you get your own big formula book. It gets a little bit more abstract, and you have less time in class to practice and with your teacher. So it's very important that you carry on independent work at home and you practice with a lot of exercise. That's the best advice I can give you. And if you're not confident with your algebra, you should really practice and improve it, because this course requires a lot of flexibility and adaptability. That's it, bye.
Hi, I'm Mathilde and I'm doing Maths AI HL. I started this a little bit late, however, I have already seen many differences from IGCSE to IB. The main ones is that we can use calculator for all the 3 papers that we have, but we don't receive method marks, so you get it like everything correct, but the answer is not correct, you'll get it wrong. So I think that that's really difficult for us to adjust. In this course, I also saw that we need to know how to interpret things well for us to be able to understand the questions, because the questions are really long and you just need to interpret it to get the essential parts out of it. I would like for people to tell me before I went to this and chose this subject is that it's not as easy as people say, or the comparison that they make about Maths AA and Maths AI of AI being easier. I don't think that's correct. I think that they're both really challenging, but I don't regret choosing it.
Hello, my name is Rexy and I'm here to talk to you about Theatre HL. So in Theatre HL we have four main assessments. We do 2 performances. One's a solo piece which you do by yourself, and we do another one which is a collaborative project which you do in groups. Both of them are more devised pieces. You don't have necessarily a script that you follow, but you choose a theme or something. And then the other 2 ways that we get assessed is a research presentation on one theatre company, and the way that we get assessed is we have to choose a play and write, basically analyze it. So both of the performances don't really count that much for the grade, because you have to write reports about both of them as well. The biggest one is a collaborative project, which is 4,000 words, the same length as the EE, so it's a lot. So it's mostly written work and mostly theory, but you do get to perform as well. It's very different from IGCSE because IGCSE has 3 performances and only 1 exam. The IB Theatre has no exams, which is amazing. I think it's the only IB course, or one of the only ones that doesn't have any exams. So you get all your work done before, and that means you only have 5 subjects of exams when everyone else has 6. IGCSE, the performances count more for your grade, whereas in IB it's more about the written work and the theory, which is good if you like English or like writing, but it may be difficult if you just like performing. Most challenging in the subject, I would say there's a lot of evaluating and analysing that you have to do, which comes along with the performing, and you always have to understand the reason why you're doing what you're doing in the performances, or why you're doing what you're doing like when you're studying the plays. So it's hard to like always have different reasons and always be able to explain that. And I think advice that I would give you is to only choose it if you're prepared to write a lot, and if you understand that it's not just performances. So if you just like the performances aspect of drama, maybe it's not the right course for you.
Hi, I'm Yada. I do IB Arts High Level. So I have art class 3 times a week. We have the exhibition, which we have to display 13 to 15 pieces if you're doing high level. Then you have the process portfolio. So throughout the process, you have to take pictures of all your pieces and kind of write a little bit about it. And then you have your comparative study, which you pick either 3 artists or 2 artists, but 3 artworks, which you have to compare. And then if you're doing high level, you have to compare those to your own pieces. And if you're doing standard level, you just have to do 12 to 15 slides comparing each of the artworks. I would say that the only difference between IGCSE and IB Art is that there's a lot more workload, and you're also a lot more independent. I think the most challenging thing is managing your time, because in IGCSE we did more like paintings on paper, but for IB it's on canvases, which take a lot more time. So you just kind of have to like manage your time to make sure that you get those 12 to 15 canvases on time.
So this is everything. I hope it was at least a bit helpful. And yeah, see you in the next video.
Bye guys.
Ba-da-da-dee, boo-da-da, boo-da-da-da.